Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadashiva Samarambha Shankaracharya Madhyama Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Pada Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Shri Chinmaya Yatishasya Gurum Vande Tapovanam Tam Himavad Vibhutim Vai Jnana Vairagya Rupinam Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahma Vidvaram Satgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. My humble pranams to you all. They have asked me to cover this beautiful Upanishad in 45 minutes. I'll try my best, just do the highlights, because each of these 18 shlokas are power-packed pellets, and each one easily you can talk for half to 1 hour. Some of these shlokas we did speak for a whole hour, but I'll just try to cover the highlights. And then for additional, I would recommend everybody read this book, Puja Gurudev's commentary. Beautifully he has done in detail. And also, if you would like to listen to these talks again, they are on firstpower.info. I think most of you know that. Tony has been putting them every week. And there are 12 talks already, and today is the 13th. So you can listen to those talks. This Upanishad starts with the Shanti mantra, Om Purnamada Purnamidam, but I won't cover that today because that itself will take at least 20 minutes, even just to give the barest meaning. So I won't do that. So please read Puja Gurudev's commentary, or you can listen to my talk number 2, which has the Shanti mantra. So we'll start with the first mantra of this Upanishad. There are 18 mantras, so I have 2.5 minutes for each mantra. So let's see how it goes. So first mantra everybody knows, Isavasya Midagam Sarvam Yat Kinchet Jagatyan Jagat Tena Tyaktena Bhunjithaha Magrida Kasya Svidhanam. So what the Rishi is telling us, that this whole universe is covered, pervaded by Isha. Isha means the Lord, the Brahman, the supreme consciousness. And when everything is covered, whatever I see in this room, and when I'm walking, driving in the supermarket, when everything is covered, then I also am covered in that. So I am all. So that is the understanding. So this is a Mahavakya. This particular mantra is a Mahavakya, Tattvamasi, I am that. And what do we mean by that? I am all. That means when I'm hurting somebody, I'm hurting myself. When I'm serving somebody, I'm serving myself. So if I take care of my hand, I don't say I'm doing a favor. It's like the mother, when she's taking care of the child, she's up all night and the child has a high fever and needs medicine, does she think she's doing a favor? No, it is me. She takes care of it as me and stays up all night. So similarly, this whole universe is me. It is pervaded by me, not in this body, but as this consciousness. And also it means that it is the illuminer. It is because of that Isha that everything is illumined, my body, mind, intellect, and all bodies of all beings are illumined by that. So Jagatyan Jagat, what is moving and unmoving, everything is illumined by that Isha. And Tena Tyaktena Bhunjithaha. So what it means is that you can protect yourself by giving up attachment to these objects, because we give so much importance to the world. So reducing my dependence on the world and attaching to the real me is the only way to enjoy life, the only way to protect yourself, only way to get beyond all suffering. And Tyaktena also means Danam, that one should definitely do charity, share with others what we have plenty of in this world. So this is basically a Mahavakya, the essence of the entire philosophy. And this is the first mantra. So this is the path of knowledge. But then the Rishi says, if you are not able to follow the path of knowledge, then what can I do? It says, this is too difficult for me to see God everywhere and Tattvamasi and Aham Brahmasmi. It is too hard. He said, okay, then take the path of action. But Karma Yoga, what Bhagavan describes in the 3rd chapter, unselfish work, Kurvan eveha sakarmani jijivishet shatagam samaha. Even if you live for 100 years, your whole life should be a life of service. Kurvan means doing. But where does it say doing in this mantra? So we had talked about it during the original commentary. But in Sanskrit, there is Parasmai Pada and Atmane Pada. Parasmai Pada is actions done for others. Atmane Pada is actions done for me. So Kurvan is a Parasmai Pada verb that means actions which are done for others. And Para also means the Supreme Lord. So actions done for others, for the Supreme Lord. So that is the essence of Karma Yoga. They say work as hard as you can, put your best effort, dedicate all actions to God, and when the results come, take it as a prasad buddhi. Whatever result came, it is God's grace, it is God's blessing, and take it as a humble offering. So then this ego of I and my reduces, and God alone is working through me. I become a humble instrument of the Lord. So this second mantra tells us about the path of action, path of service. So a person said, I don't have time to go to all these classes and I'm not going to work for others. If I work for others, then what will others do? So let them do theirs, I'll do mine. And so such a person who lives a life of selfish activity, so Rishi says, sorry, then your life is not going to be happy. So he says, Asurya namate lokaha andhena tamasa vritaha. So he says, those who do not follow either the path of knowledge or the path of service, then they live a life of darkness. Asurya has two meanings. Asurya means without any sun, without light, life of darkness. Asurya also means the life of asuras. Asuras are the ones, Sureshu Ramati iti asura. So those who are enjoying in their sense organs, in their pranas. So then such a person lives his life, just enjoying life, living for he, me, myself, and I, and really doesn't care about God, doesn't care about the world. So he says such a person lives in ignorance, lives in darkness, because he or she will never know their true nature. And that's why he says, Atma Hano Janaha. Such people are Atma Hana. They commit spiritual suicide. So you said, but Atma can never be destroyed. Bhagavan said in the second chapter, Najayate Mriyate Va Kadachit. How can they destroy their Atma? So it says that it's not that they can destroy their Atma. They are of the nature of bliss and divinity, but they don't experience their own divinity. They cover it. So even though I am divine, even though I am Brahman incarnate on this earth, but not knowing that, I live a life of ignorance, live a life of selfishness, and such a person is committing suicide. He is destroying, first of all, his life. He's making this life bad. His future life is going to be bad, because if he has done selfish actions, then his future lives will not be good, and he will never reach that state of divinity, which is, as Vivekananda said, immortality is your birthright. But such an individual never reaches his or her state of immortality, and he is doomed to suffer. Then the fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh mantras. Actually, Gurudev gives 7 waves. So the first, second, and third mantras make 3 waves. The fourth to seventh mantras make the 4th wave. And what are they? They are further explanation about this what is this self, this nature, what is the nature of the wise person, and how he or she lives in the world. So 4 to 7 further expand on this self, this consciousness, this totality. So like in the 4th mantra, he says it very beautiful, Aneja Dekam Manaso Javiya. So what it means is, even though it is unmoving, it is faster than the mind. Our mind, we think, is very fast. If I want to think about my family in India, I can do that. I want to think about the furthest star in the universe, I can do that. I want to think about heaven, Indra, I can think that. But this self or consciousness is faster than the mind, because wherever the mind goes, it is already there. If I think about heaven, consciousness is already there. Furthest star, it is beyond that. Yeah. And it is the deepest. Even if I think about my inner body, the consciousness is there. So it is faster than the mind. And Naina Deva Apnuvan Purva Marshat. Even the Devas, even the heavenly beings cannot reach it, because it is everywhere. They cannot overtake it. They cannot reach it. Devas also means the sense organs. So the sense organs cannot know this. That includes the mind. Bhagavan says in the 15th chapter, Manashasthani Indriyani Prakriti Sthani Karshati. So the 5 sense organs, the mind and intellect, none of them can know this. So it is faster than them, means it cannot be known. It is Indriya Agochara. The senses cannot know it. The mind cannot think about it. The intellect cannot contemplate upon it. So then why are we sitting and studying with the intellect? Because through this indicative knowledge that the Rishi has given us, we can go beyond the intellect, transcendental, and we'll talk about that in the 8th mantra. So this knowledge takes us beyond the intellect, takes us beyond the mind, takes us beyond the senses, takes us beyond this whole world of PFT, perceptions, feelings, thoughts, objects, emotions, thoughts. So it takes us beyond all that. And then the last part of this says, Tasmin Apo Matarishva Dadati. In this Tasmin, in this consciousness, in this Brahman, air or space, Matarishva can be translated as air or space. they support water. Apaha dadati, they support the water. How can air and space support water? So we had talked about that, but see, in air, space is, in space, there is air. Yatha kasha sthito nityam vayu sarvatra goman, Bhagavan had said in the 9th chapter. So space supports air. Air cannot go outside of space. Even a thunderstorm, even a hurricane cannot go outside space. And then how does air support water? Because water is what? H2O. So hydrogen and oxygen, which is air, make water. So air supports water. And then air, of course, supports the fire also, because if there is no oxygen, the fire will go out. And air supports the gross body also, right? My body, I won't function if there is no air. And then subtlerly, the fire supports this body, because if there was no fire, I would not be able to maintain my temperature of 98.4. And then water supports earth, because my body is 75% water. If you remove water, I'm just a pile of dust. So each element supports the other. Space supports air, fire, water, earth. That's why this beautiful line, Tasmin Apo Matarishva Dadati, has so much meaning. So that is mantra number 4. Yeah, oh yeah, and also thank you, Neeru pointed out, the consciousness is even subtler than space, and the consciousness supports all 5. So it is that because of which all the other 5 elements are supported. So even space is contained in that. That actually extends even beyond space. We think space is endless, goes on and on. But it not only is beyond space, but this is what we see is only one world. It is beyond all the 14 worlds. Chode log tumhari shakha, they say, you are pervading all the 14 worlds and beyond that. Then in mantra number 5, which is further explanation of that, Isha, he says, Taj ejati na ejati. It moves and it does not move. Tad dure tad vantike tad antarasya sarvasya tadu sarvasyasya bahyataha. So what it means is that it is moving and not moving. You say, well, make up your mind. Is it moving or is it not moving? By itself, this consciousness does not move because it has nowhere to move to, right? I can only move, say from Bakersfield, I can move to Los Angeles because I'm not in Los Angeles. But from Bakersfield, from 4708 Panorama Drive, I cannot move to 4708 Panorama Drive because I'm already here. So space cannot move because it is everywhere. Consciousness is even more pervasive than space. So it cannot move because there is no place for it to move where it is not already there. That's number 1. But number 2, Gurudev says, it is as though moving. So it appears to move, like if I carry a pot, a closed pot, empty pot, and I carry it in the room, I say, oh, the space in the pot is moving, right? It appears to move, or I appear to move within this consciousness. So it says itself, it does not move, but through conditionings, it appears to move as though it is moving. That's what Gurudev says, as though. So it is not really moving, but appears to move because of all the conditionings. Then it says it is further than the furthest and nearer than the nearest. What it means is that even the furthest star you can think, it is beyond, even the furthest heaven, even Brahma Loka, it is beyond all the hells even, it is beyond all, but it is the closest, it is the substratum, the subatomic, even the The atoms, the subatoms, everything in me, it is subtler and it is sustaining. So it is closer than the closest because it is me. It is my own nature. So it is far and it is near. It is outside and inside. Actually, there is no outside, inside. One alone is there. But in reference to my body, I say, oh, it is outside my body, inside my body. But actually, there is no division. This inside and outside is my own mischaracterization. Like I say, oh, there is space in the room and there is space outside my room. Actually, there is only one space. These walls are just conditioning. So similarly, there is only one consciousness. Shankaracharya ji also says that for an ignorant person, it is very far. Bhagwan, I don't know kahan pe hai, when I will find him, in which life, he's somewhere sitting there and he's making my life miserable sitting up there. So we think of God as far away. But for a wise person, he says, he's right here. He's right here. He's right now talking through us, listening through us. He's in this computer. He's everywhere he is. So he's nearer than the nearest. So for a wise person, he's near. For an ignorant person, he is far. Tad dure, tad antike. And it is inside and outside. And that is the nature of Isha, that Sat. Now the 6th and 7th mantra talk about how a wise person, a man of wisdom, functions in this world. Beautiful 2 mantras, which Bhagavan also has covered in the Bhagavad Gita. So here it is said, Yastu sarvani karmani atmanyevanupashyati. This is mantra number 6. Sarva bhuteshu atmanam tato na vijugupsate. So he sees everything in the Atma and Atma in everything. Atma means me. I, as the consciousness, I am in all and all are in me and they are all me. So then how can I withdraw from that? How can I hate anybody? Because they are all me. So then such a Mahatma, such a wise person becomes a symbol of universal love, where they love everybody unconditionally. See, you and I, when we love somebody, it is like, what can I get out of it? Or I will love this person only if this person loves me back. If he loves me, then no. This Mahatma says, even somebody who hates me, we are also covering in the Bhagavad Gita, Priya Priyo Tulyaha. He is the same to people who love him and the people who hate him, because he says, even the person hurting me is me, even the person loving me is me. So just as the body part, part of my body is hurting, causing me a lot of pain, I don't say, cut it off. No, I carefully bandage it, take care of it, because they are me. And I don't even hate the part that is giving me pain, because they are all me. So that is the vision of this man of wisdom. In mantra number 5, very beautifully, Yasmin Sarvani Bhutani Atmaiva Bhut Vijanatah Tatra Ko Moha Ko Shokaha Ekatvam Anupashyatah. He says, 7th mantra. So he says, Yasmin, in whom he sees all beings in me as me alone, then how can there be moha? How can there be shoka? Moha comes because a person does not have the right vision. That is called delusion. Thinking I am this body, I am this ego, I am this DMI is the biggest moha, and all other problems arise from that one. Thinking I am the body, then I start taking care of this body, then I want to accumulate more for this body. All relations are for this body, all my possessions are for this body, my whole life. That's what I was listening to one commentary yesterday. He says some people, their life starts with artha and ends with artha. We have 4 purusharthas, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. So dharma, artha, and kama should lead us to moksha. But some people, their whole life starts with artha, ends with artha. Their whole, so he says that is the problem. But and then it comes all the other problems: greed, jealousy, hatred, competition, selfishness. It comes from avidya. But my nature is bliss. Then how can there be any shoka? Even if there is a physical discomfort, mental stress, but I am of the nature of infinite consciousness, Sat Chit Anand, and no shoka. There can be no shoka, no moha, ekatvam anupashyatah. This individual constantly sees oneness, that there is one alone and I am not separate. Anu also means after getting the knowledge from the teacher, then his vision is very clear. Now the eighth mantra, Gurudev doesn't put in any wave because eighth mantra is unique by itself. It cannot be put in any classification. If you want one mantra that most beautifully describes Brahman, most beautiful description is mantra number 8. It's a little hard to memorize, but I would request everybody at least memorize or at least know the word by word meaning. And when you sit for meditation, remember that. So it starts with Saparyaga Shukramakayam Avranam and all, and goes on and on. Asma Viragam Shuddham Apapa Vidham. So what it is saying is that is Saha Paryaga. It is all pervading. Everything is all pervading. And that Saha, when it is all pervading, it is also me. So I am all pervading and that is all pervading. Then that Brahman is Shukram. Shukram means brilliant light. It illumines everything. Yada Ditya Gatam Teja Jagat Bhasayate Khilam. So I am the light in the sun and the moon and the fire. Also, I am the illumining principle in all beings. So that is Shukram. Also means the light of knowledge, that all knowledge happens only in the presence of consciousness. If consciousness is not there, I won't be able to know. Then Akayam. Akayam means bodiless. So right away you have to say, I am bodiless. I do not have a body. I am not the body. In fact, the body has no reality at all. It is just a piece of cloth that I'm wearing, but has absolutely zero importance. I am that consciousness. And since I am bodiless, I have no defects. See, the body can have some cuts and ulcers, avranam, but I am not this body. So I have no defects. I have no problems. I have no physical, emotional, intellectual problems. Nothing belongs to me. And asna viragam also means without any muscles, without any body parts. Shuddham, Shuddham means pure, uncontaminated. In this Brahman, there is nothing else except Brahman. What do we say? Dirty, like in water, if you put some mud, then you say, okay, water got contaminated, which was pure. But in Brahman, there cannot be, none of the impurities of the world can contaminate. That's why it says Papa Viddham. None of the sins belong to that. The sins, Papa Viddham, sins belong to this BMI. All these wrong actions, evil, all belong to me. And Kavihi means Kranta Darshi. Kavi means wise, omniscient. Kranta Darshi means seer, but one who knows the past, present, and future. That is Kranta Darshi. One who knows the past, present, and future. So Bhagwan knows everything, what has happened in the past, what is happening now, and also knows what will happen in the future, but it is beyond time. So it is all knowing, Kavi. Manishi means it is the Lord of the mind, of all minds, plants, animals, birds, fish, humans. And when it becomes Lord of the mind, then it becomes omnipotent, right? Because the mind is the one that orders the hands to move, the feet to move, the tongue to speak. So in this shloka, it is omnipresent Paryaga, it is all knowing, Kavi, and it is Manishi. So omnipresent, omniscient, and omnipotent. All three are covered in this one. See what a beautiful mantra it is. And then it is says Paribhu. But then one may think, oh, it is in this world. No, it is beyond. It transcends. That's why they say, when in your meditation, you have to transcend this body, mind, and intellect. So it is transcendental, and it is Swayambhu. Because people ask, no, if God created the world, who created God? So we say, no, God is self-created, was always there, Swayambhu. And then the Rishi ends with Yatharthaturthan Vyadada Shashwati Bhya Samabhya, means Shashwati Bhya Samabhya. So all these devatas, all these gods in heaven, compared to us, they are Shashwat, because they live for millions of years. But even at the Pralaya, even they merge. So all these celestial powers that, like the god of the sun, god of the wind, god of rain, god of the moon, god of water. So all these celestial beings have been given power by that. So just as a president appoints secretary of state, secretary of defense, economy, and so on, and gives them particular powers to run particular departments, so this Isha Saha, which is called Saha in this, has assigned functions to all the celestial powers. And that Saha has assigned powers to me also. So don't forget, ultimately it has to come back to me. I am that. Not God is somewhere else. That is me. So that you have to complete the circle. So this 8th mantra is the most beautiful. And please know it word by word if you can. Now, the next wave is mantras number 9 to 11 and 12 to 14. So the 9, 10, and 11 come together, and then 12, 13, and 14 come together. Andam tamah pravishanti ye vidyam upasate tato bhuya evate tamo yau vidya yugum rataha. So he says people who live in avidya go to hell, go to darkness. Okay, we understand. But those who live in vidya go to greater darkness. Avidya we understand, but how can you say vidya is in darkness? So here avidya and vidya are equated to karma is avidya, and vidya is upasana plus meditation. So those who think that I only need to do rituals, puja, I don't need to do all this, meditation and knowledge, forget that, I don't need it. So then what happens is they become fanatical, they become workaholics. So he says they go to darkness. But those who think it's okay to, do puja, meditate, but I don't need to go and serve the world, he says they go to greater darkness, because even having this knowledge, even getting all this vidya, they are not using it to serve the world. So that's what it says, that both of them go to darkness. And who has told you? Anyad evahur vidyaya, anyad evahura vidyaya, iti shushrumadhiranam enastad vichachakshire. So it is our guru who gave us this knowledge. So they are expressing gratitude to their teacher, and who again got it from his guru and his guru. We start with Yada Shiva Samarambham, Shankaracharya Madhyamam. So from Lord himself, then it came to Shankaracharya ji, and then Tapovan Maharaj, Puja Gurudev, and then Asmadacharya Paryantam, Vande Guru Paramparam. So I prostrate to that. So he says this knowledge has been given to us by our teachers. But what you have to do is do them both together. Do karma yoga and do some upasana. Do some puja, do some meditation, sit in front of the Lord and talk to him, offer flowers. So both paths, ubhayagam, when they are done together, then such a ubhayagam saha, then such a person will progress in spirituality. So do not become fanatic. Use all your faculties. With your body you serve, with your mind you love, with your intellect you know. So that is called, and he says, avidyaya mrityum tirtva vidyaya amritam ashnute. So through action, you go beyond likes and dislikes. So what is mrityu? Something I like comes and it goes away, it is death. And then something I don't like comes, that is death, and that when it goes away. So birth and death, we equate with likes and dislikes. Of course, there is the final birth and death, but throughout life, we are going through births and deaths. So he says, you through service and go beyond raga dvesha, and then through knowledge that I am amritam ashnute, I am immortal. That's what we meditate on. So 9, 10, and 11 talk about the path of service and the path of upasana. Now the 12 to 14 is another set of 3 mantras which have the same idea together, 12, 13, and 14. 12 says Sambhuti, Asambhuti. So Sambhuti and Asambhuti. So he says people who go to Sambhuti go to darkness. People who go to Asambhuti go to greater darkness, greater hell. So it is said that Sambhuti means personal God. Asambhuti means impersonal God. So form and formless. Saguna and Nirgun Brahman. So people who think, I only care for Sagun, Bhagwan Sri Krishna. I don't know who is this Brahman, this Nirgun. I don't care. Or somebody, says, you guys are superstitious. You need to meditate on that one formless Brahman. Don't go to the temple and, pray to this stone. So both of them go to darkness. That's why they say, Ubhaya Gam Saha. You should worship God with form and without form, form and formless. So one is for the heart. Worshipping God with form is for the heart, you love. And worshipping God with formless is for the head, for intellect. So the mind and intellect both together should be directed on this path. And whom have we heard from? Dhiranam. Ye nastad vicha chakshire shushvama dhiranam. We have heard from our gurus, from our teachers. And then in the 14th mantra, which is the last of this particular thought, they say that Vinasha and Sambhuti. So Sambhuti can be a Sambhuti. We had talked about grammar rule, but here Tapovan Maharaj says Vinasha means destruction of vasanas and Sambhuti means creation of my divine nature. I am divine, but to recognize my divinity so that my divinity takes birth, I have to destroy my vasanas. So Vinashena mrityum tirtva sambhutya amritam ashnute. So having destroyed my ignorance, my ego, my vasanas, my selfishness, I enjoy my immortal true self. So beautiful, these 12 to 14 talk about the path of bhakti and the path of jnanam. And Gurudev has said there are 2 wings of a bird. You need both to fly. You need love for God and you need knowledge. 15th mantra is, actually I had been chanting for many years. It's one of my favorite mantras. Hiranmayena Patrena, as Jayashri pointed out, even in Upanishad Ganga, that mantra is always played, and it is a prayer to Surya Bhagwan, because Yajnavalkya Rishi, who has revealed this Upanishad to us, was a worshipper of the sun god. And it is said the sun god himself revealed this knowledge to him in deep meditation. So he says, Hiranmayena Patrena Satyasyapi Hitam Mukham Tattvam Pushana Pavranu Satya Dharmaya Drishtaye. So he says, my vision is covered by this golden pot, golden lid. So gold, we had talked many times. Gold means my possessions. Gold means my body, which I treat like gold. or the pot is like this ego, or the matter, or Maya. So these are all the things that are obscuring my vision, even though I am Satchidanand Brahman. But because of my identification with this body, with matter, and because of delusion by Maya, I am not able to see the truth, O Surya Bhagwan. And Surya Bhagwan is not only worshipped as this ball of fire, but it is Brahman himself who has manifested. So he says, only you can uncover this lid and make me see my true nature. And why should you show it? Satya Dharma, because I have done my homework. I have done all my sadhan chatushtaya. I have prepared myself. I have done karma, bhakti, jnana, meditation. I have done everything. And now I am here, oh Lord, please reveal yourself to me. Gurudev calls it loving authority. And the 16th mantra is a continuation of the 15th mantra. So 15, 16, and 17 become one wave. The 16th mantra is again full of wisdom. It is unbelievable. So Pushana means the nourisher, the one who nourishes us. And Pushan, the sun, nourishes the whole universe. And within us, who nourishes us? The Atma. So this sun represents the Atma, the consciousness. Ekarshe means one who travels alone. Ekarshe also means one rishi, so the seer. So Surya Bhagwan is worshipped as the seer, the knower. And Yama, it is the controller, the inner and outer controller. Day and night, time is controlled by the sun, and Atma controls me. And Prajapatya means came from Prajapati. So it says, Vyuha Rashmin Samuha Teja Yatte Rupam Kalyanatamam Tatte Pashyami. He says, oh Lord, your light is so strong that I am not able to see your essence. So please take away your rays, make it softer, make it mild, so I may see you. So he's requesting Bhagwan that I am blinded by all these worldly things and this. So reduce my attachment so I may see you, Bhagwan. Also, it means that Bhagwan is so powerful, all pervading, that it is very hard for our limited intellect to contemplate. So he says, Bhagwan, make it so that I can understand you. And then he says, Asau, Asau. So this and that, whatever I see as this room, this house, and that star, that moon, that sun, everything you are. And Soham Asmi, and that I am. See, this is a very important line in this mantra. So we shouldn't say Aham Brahmasmi, you say Soham Asmi, that I am. If I say I am that, then I become important. And you say that I am, that alone is everything. Soham Asmi. So it's beautiful 16th mantra, which is a continuation of the prayer to the sun god. Now the 17th mantra teaches us how to die. He says, don't talk about death. I don't want to die. No, but when it is time to die, how does a wise person give up his body? Vayur nilam amritam. He says, let my pranas, my vayu, merge into the total pranas. So happily he gives up the body at the time of death. When it's time, if you look at the death time of Mirabai and all these great saints, how they drop their body effortlessly. So he says, let my pranas merge into the total pranas and let my body be burnt. You know, we burn it in whatever, 3000 degrees in the oven. He said, let it be burnt. Let my body merge with the elements. Let my pranas merge with all the pranas, become one. My breath may become one with the total breath. And he says, Kritosmar, oh mind, Kritagam smara, please remember what you have experienced, not what you have experienced, not my son, my daughter, my house, my money, but if this wise person has experienced that total truth, that consciousness, has experienced God's presence. So he says, even at the time of death, you should remember God. That's why Bhagavan Krishna says, Omite Kaksharam Brahma Vyaharan Mam Anusmaran Yah Prayati Tyajan Deham Tato Yati Param Gatim. So he says, one who chants Om and remembers me at the time of death, he comes to me. So here the Rishi is telling his mind at the time of death, do not think about anything else. Think about God. Think about your highest, your greatest experience. So this is how one should give up the body. So the 17th mantra teaches us how a wise person drops the body. And the 9th is, I'm sorry, the 18th is the last mantra, which is a prayer to Agni Bhagwan, Agni, the fire. And fire is not just the fire in the Havan Kund. Yes, that is very auspicious, but the same fire is in the sun too, right? Because the sun is hot. The sun is illumined by the presence of fire. So fire represents Brahman, represents the consciousness. So the sun is illumined by the fire. The Havan Kund is illumined by fire. Our kitchen, all our cooking is done by fire. If there was no fire, we would be eating uncooked vegetables. Even inside my body, there is the digestive fire, Vaishvanaro Bhutva. Bhagavan says, Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva, Prani Nam Deham Ashritaha. So this fire is everywhere. And that fire represents Brahman. So when you light the fire in your stove, remember Bhagavan is here. And Bhagavan is the one that is cooking my food. And when I'm eating, we always should chant Brahmarpanam Brahma Havihi, that Brahman alone is the food, and the one to whom it is being offered is Brahman, and the one who will be nourished. So remembering God is this mantra. So Agne Naya Supatha Raya Asman. O Agni Bhagwan, please take us on the Supatha, on the good path, and give us wealth. Rae Asman. Wealth means spiritual wealth, wealth of knowledge, wealth of wisdom. And why? He says, O Agni, Vishwani Deva, Vayunani Vidwan. O Lord, you are the knower of everything. You know everything outside and you know inside too. And then he says, save us from all our evil tendencies, our negativities. Take those away from us. Take us towards good. Also, he says, Bhagwan, if I have done anything wrong, please forgive me. You have the ability to burn it. So please burn all my bad karmas. So he's praying to God that even if I have done anything wrong, God, please forgive me. Why? Bhuishtham te nama uktim vidhema. You are the best. You are the greatest. And I offer my humble pranams, my humble salutations to you, O Agni Devta, who is nothing but Brahman, God himself, appeared on here. So this beautiful mantra most of these mantras are Mahavakyas, Tattvamasi, that alone is in this world. So it's very nice. I tried to cover, but as I said, please read the commentary of Pujya Gurudev. You all have the book. And if you have time, listen to these talks on firstpower.info. I'd like to thank Tony for recording and putting them on the web, but they are there as 13 talks. And if you're on the treadmill or driving or anything, you have ability to listen to those. So please do that. And we have about 10 minutes. If there's any questions, comments, anything you may have written about this Upanishad.
Beautiful. Very nice.
Yeah, Sharath, go ahead.
I have a question. So we discussed shloka number 16 as being one of the most important ones in relation to Pushan or Surya. So when we're doing Surya Namaskar, typically Gayatri Mantra is chanted early in the morning. Would this shloka be before that or after that?
No, you would. What I do is I start with Gayatri Mantra, then I do that Hiranmayena Patrena. Those two I have memorized, and then this can be the third one.
Okay.
But the Gayatri I would do first because that is supreme. That's why he says mantra naam asmi Gayatri. You know, Bhagavan says in the Bhagavad Gita, among
That's
all
the
the
one which is
mantras,
given.
I am the Gayatri. So that is the supreme, then Hiranmayana, and then this one.
Okay. And then also a question related to this mantra. So in Isha, this is, telling us that God is, or Surya Bhagwan, whether it's in the form of a analogy or a drishtanta, is God. But then when we do our arti, we studied the shloka, Om Natatra Suryo Bhatina Chandra Tarakam. That's telling us, somebody might argue, say, hey, wait a second, you're telling us this and then again this.
Sagun and Nirgun.
Yeah, so no, it is what it means is that the sun is illumined by that.
Right.
That consciousness illumines the sun. So sun is a manifestation of consciousness, but sun cannot illumine that. See, I cannot illumine my source. I cannot know the source. So what it means is that that is the origin of the sun. And when I worship sun, Surya Bhagwan, I'm actually worshiping that total consciousness. But that total Brahman is very hard for me to see, but it is easier for me to see it in the sun because the sun is the Narisha, Pushana. So that's how. So that is the source of the sun, and that manifests in the sun. So
and
that's
also
how.
in those days, Vedic time, the sun was the first, probably
The first God, yes.
God. There were no Puranas, there were no Ram or Sita. So in those days, they used to do the pujas, like for Sagun, they will do the puja of the Bhagwan.
Yeah, Surya Bhagwan.
Surya Bhagwan or water or
Vayu Devta, Varun Devta, Indra
fire. Yeah,
fire, yes.
Yeah.
The rain, all those. So they worshipped these forces of elemental forces. So that's why.
So did this Isavasya precede Katha Upanishad? Because the other one is from the Katha, right? The Om Natatra.
No, it doesn't. We don't know which precedes which, but when they talk about the 11, this is mentioned first. Isha, Kena, Katha, Mundaka, Mandukya, like that. It goes on and on. So Isha is supposed to be the first one in that, the 10,
maybe Shankaracharya
major,
wrote a commentary on
the
it
10
also.
major mantras, and then the 11th one is Shvetashvatara. So these are the ones that, but even none of the others are not minor, like Kaivalya Upanishad. That was the first Upanishad I studied and has as great clarity. And Kaivalya Upanishad was taught by Brahmaji. Subject matter is the same. Yeah. So, but it is just that Shankaracharya ji has written commentaries on these 10 and then Shvetashvatara. So they are considered major. But no, we don't know exactly which time, but they are all very, very ancient, thousands of years old.
And then just one other question. So shloka number 9 tells us about taking all paths, not just one path, like whether it's bhakti, karma, jnana, dhyana. So, typically, like if I was to break my right arm, since I'm right-handed, then I have to utilize other forms to make up for my right hand being, unable to use it. So how does someone like, a student know where he's lacking and in what path? How, even though he's trying to practice all three?
Right. I think you'll know by your nature. Some people are more action oriented. They like to work. So then they say, okay, go out and build a house, Habitat for Humanity, go and work. And somebody is more affectionate, more loving, when he thinks about God and starts crying, then such a person, he's predominantly the path of bhakti. And other people say, I don't like to do this. I like to study. I like to do swadhyaya. I like to, listen to lectures. So it depends on your nature. But they say that as much as possible, use all, but one or the other could become predominant, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you're predominantly a bhakta, use the path of bhakti, but at the same time, know who this God I am worshipping. Or if you are on the path of knowledge, I know God is, but then I must love and I must serve. So the three of them, that's why they say they should be serially practiced. So through service, you purify your mind. And then through upasana, you further purify your mind, and then you are ready for knowledge. So upasana also makes your mind single pointed. So together, so ultimately you have to know within you which one suits you. Like somebody likes chanting. So they just chant, every day they will chant the 1,000 names of Bhagwan, Vishnu, or whatever. So it depends on what your personality,
so many minds, so many paths.
Right. And each one has to find their own path.
Yeah.
But these books serve as guides. It's like you want to go to, to the top of the mountain. We have talked about, you can go by foot, you can go by motorcycle, you can go by car, or you can go by helicopter, depending on what equipment you have. But the final goal of the summit is the same.
Okay. Just finally, lots of pranams to you and Neeraj for taking the time to do this Isavasya. Many thanks.
Thank you.
Hariam.
Thank you. Anybody else? Anybody?
I just wanted to ask you about the Upanishads. Upanishads are primarily the Shruti, right? It's like
Right.
the rishis heard them. How were they divided into all these different? I mean, who or when did that happen? That was it Shankaracharya who divided them into
No.
the Pramukh ones, and like how did we get these separate Upanishads from the Shrutis?
Yes, thank you. Very nice question. So what happened was different rishis and the different meditations heard it. There are 108 Upanishads we know about, but there probably are hundreds more that were revealed, but that are no longer available. So these rishis heard them and they passed them on to their disciples. And that's why they were chanted. They were not written down. Now it's written down, mantra number 1, 2, 3, 4, and commentary and all. But there they just chanted and the students just memorized, and they memorized thousands of verses. So what Vedvyasji, when he appeared, he said to be an avatar of Bhagwan Vishnu himself. When he appeared, he realized that as society, originally people used to live in the forest, live in the under the mountains, the rivers, mountains and all, and their minds were simple and they depended on nature. But as society became urbanized, they started living in villages and all that, Vedvyasji realized that this method of transferring knowledge from teacher to student orally is not going to work. And so what he did was he organized this knowledge into 4 sections. Rig Ved, Sam Ved, Yajur Ved, and Atharva Ved came later. And what he did was he again divided the Vedas into mantras, Brahmanas, and Upanishads. So mantras are the rituals, karma kanda. Brahmanas are the aranyakas, the upasanas, and then Upanishads are the Vedas. So each Upanishads are the path of knowledge. So each Veda had all 3, had karma kanda, had upasana, and had jnanam. So Vedvyasji, that's why we call him Vedavyas, because he's the one who organized, who made sure they were written down, made sure that it was systematically presented to us. And we owe a tremendous debt to him, because if it was not for him, this knowledge would have died down a long time ago. So it was Vedvyasji. But Shankaracharya ji wrote commentaries on 10 and then 1. So that's why they are called major. And he also wrote commentary on Brahma Sutra, which was composed by Vedvyasji. Vedvyasji not only organized the Vedas, he wrote several Puranas, he wrote the Mahabharata, he wrote the Brahma Sutras. And they said the Brahma Sutra, the best commentary, if anybody has written, it is Shankaracharya ji himself. So Shankaracharya ji is the modern, you can say, manifestation of Vedvyasji. That's why Shankaracharya ji was worshipped as an avatar of Lord Shiva.
Bhagwan.
It is said Lord Shiva himself appeared in his mother's womb.
They used to call him Bhagwan.
Yeah, so Shankaracharya ji is the modern. And then our Chinmaya mission, we follow the Advait philosophy of Shankaracharya ji. Puja Gurudev said that should be the main philosophy. So in our Chinmaya mission, we follow Advait, where there is no 2. 1. Is that answer your question, Ambika?
Yes. So So I would say then what you're telling me is that it was Vedavyasa who separated them into Isha and all those Mandukya and all that, right?
No, the Upanishads were separate, but he assigned them to certain Vedas. Upanishads, each one was revealed by different. Like now the
Sages.
Prashnopanishad we are
Okay.
doing next. Next was revealed by Pipala, the Rishi.
Okay.
This one was revealed by
Yajnavalkya.
Yajnavalkya, like that. So
So
different
depending
Rishis.
on which Rishi revealed it, it
Yeah.
was separated
Yes.
accordingly.
Yes, and
Okay.
then Vedvyasji took the Upanishads and then put them in different Vedas.
Okay.
So like
Thank
that.
you.
And there were a lot more than 108,
Mhm.
but 108 is what we know right now.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for that question. Lata, you can unmute. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, what was missing in the Upanishads that Vedavyas had the need to write Brahma-Sutras?
No, see what happened, nothing is missing, but Brahma Sutra is for advanced seekers. See, those who have studied some of the basic texts, then Brahma Sutra because directly starts with Athato Brahma Jignasa. There is no student, there is no teacher, there is no story, there is no, oh, go to God and pray, do karma yoga, nothing.
It's
Directly.
more in details,
Directly,
going into the
yeah.
deeper.
Much deeper significance. So he felt the
Oh.
need for, and each Mahatma has written, so many different texts, so many different Upanishads. Like somebody asked Raman Maharishi, and he said, how many mirrors do you need to see yourself?
It's a
One mirror, right? One
Right.
mirror is enough. So one Upanishad is enough if you know it well for self-knowledge. But if there's many mirrors, then you are very happy. Oh, I'm here, and I can see my front and my back. So we like house hall with many mirrors, especially if I have a nice sari on. I can look around from all sides. So Upanishads show me from all directions. So that's why so many Upanishads. And each rishi who had this knowledge revealed it. But Brahma Sutra is a pretty advanced text. I haven't studied it, so I not in a position to talk about it, but they say it is quite advanced.
It's in the
Oh, I see.
In
Sutra
depth.
means like
And sutra means in very brief, in one
Capsule.
line,
Like
in
a
little
capsule.
capsule, this highest knowledge. And Shankaracharya ji wrote a bhashya on Brahma Sutras. Actually, it is said when he was talking about it, Ved Vyasji himself came to test him. And he kept irritating him and telling him, you don't know, you are wrong. And Shankaracharya ji answered all his arguments very well, patiently. So then Ved Vyasji revealed himself that it is me. He had come as an old man and he was kept irritating. So he said, you are the one who has understood my Brahma Sutras the best. So that's why we revere Shankaracharya ji, because he's avatar of Lord Shiva.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other question?
No, Anil Bhai, I don't have a question, but I just wanted to say thank you. It was you did a very, very nice, the brief, you did all the sloka, the briefing was summary was very nicely. I wrote down all the points.
Thank you. It's all Puja Gurudev and Bhagwan.
45 minutes, you did an excellent in 45 minutes. Yeah.
I tried. Last 2 nights I have been working on this summary. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Anil, it is very beautifully done. The summary.
yeah, it was very nice.
Thank
Very
you. Yeah.
nice.
Thank you. Yeah, I enjoyed it because then for me, it put the whole Upanishad together.
I think we should do it for all.
Yeah, no, we'll do it for all after every Upanishad.
You know, when you did the summary, I felt like, oh, I know everything now.
Good.
And then, you know how it goes, but we forget and we go on with
No, you
other
can
things. But
you can listen to it again. It will be online
Yeah.
in the next day or two. You can always listen to it again. And we are starting. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Next time.
Yeah, Varsha Ben, what
Thank
were you saying?
No, it was very nice. Thank you. And pranam.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Next week we'll start.
Yeah, next week we are starting Prashnopanishad. If you don't have it, Harsha Ben is ordering them. So you can collect from her, or you can meet Neeru at the mission on Thursday. Neeru and I will be there. Hopefully it will come, but if
By
not
next
this Thursday, then next Thursday, by next week we'll have it.
It will
But
be
next Monday,
week.
I'm not going to do any mantras. I'm only going to do introduction of Prashnopanishad. There is a
So even if
fairly
you don't.
long introduction. So even if you don't have that the book next week, it will be okay. But by the week after next, we'll start the mantras. And this Isavasya is very power packed in 18 mantras. He has given everything. This Prashnopanishad is a more gradual, so that suits us better. You say this is too hard, ye bahut hard hai. So Prashnopanishad starts from the body and then slowly goes to the mind, to the
Creation.
pranas, creation, and ultimately to that supreme. So it's very, very nice, but very gently the Rishi takes us. It's Pipala the Rishi. And it is 6 students who ask 6 questions. So that we are starting next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday.
Yeah. Any other question? Hansaben, you have any question?
Anil, by this book you have taught, it has made so much sense. And I think understanding is becoming more formal and formal now.
Good.
Yeah. I thank you. Thank you and you, Ben, both.
Thank you, all of you.
And Jai Shri Ben too, yeah.
Thank you.
Without that, we would not have made it.
Yes. It is all Bhagwan appearing here. That's all his grace and Puja Gurudev.
Thank you.
Any other comments, questions, anything else?
Anilji, I just didn't want to kind of repeat what everybody else said, but thanks for being the gold digger for us and digging this gold for us.
Thank you.
And handing it over to us. Thank you.
That's all Puja Gurudev is doing.
No, but
Mukam karoti vachalam. That's how I believe. I really don't know much. It is he who's placed us here. So
your efforts are truly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll do the Purnamada, which is the Shanti mantra. And please read Purnamada commentary, because that is the most beautiful commentary. Puja, I couldn't cover it because that itself will take at least 20 minutes. We actually spent 1 hour doing Purnamada. That was my second talk. So we'll end with that. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you very much. Hari Om.